insanely hard to do. The reason why you choose something insanely hard to do, by the way, so that you have lots of time to go learn it. If something is insanely easy to do, like tic-tac-toe, I wouldn't, fuss over it. And the reason for that, obviously, is highly competitive. And so you got to choose something that's incredibly hard to do. And that thing that's hard to do discourages a whole bunch of other, all by itself, because the person who's willing to suffer the longest wins. And so we choose things that are incredibly hard to do. And you've heard me say pain and suffering a lot. And it's actually a positive attribute. People who can suffer are ultimately the ones that are the most successful. Number one. Number two, you should choose something that somehow you're destined to do. Either a set of qualities about your personality or your expertise or the people you're surrounded by, your scale, whatever your perspective, whatever you're somehow destined to do. And then number three, you better love working on that thing so much, because unless so, the pain and suffering is too great. So the thing is, when you want to build something great, it's not easy to do. And when you're doing something that's not easy to do, you're not always enjoying it. I don't love every day of my job. I don't think every day brings me joy, nor does joy have to be the definition of a good day. And every day I'm not happy. Every year I'm not happy about the company. But I love the company every single second. And so I think that what people misunderstand is somehow the best jobs are the one that brings you happiness all the time. I don't think that's right. You have to suffer, you have to struggle, you have to endeavor, you have to do those hard things and work through it in order to really appreciate what you've done. And there are no such thing that are great that was easy to do. And so by definition, I would say, therefore, I wish upon you greatness, which by my way of saying it, I wish upon you plenty of pain and suffering. And so
one of my great advantages is that I have very low expectations. and I mean that. Most of the Stanford graduates have very high expectations. You deserve to have high expectations because you came from a great school. You were very successful. You're top of your class. Obviously, you were able to pay for tuition. And then you're graduating from one of the finest institutions on the planet. You're surrounded by other kids that are just incredible. You naturally have very high expectations. People with very high expectations have very low resilience. And unfortunately, resilience matters in success. I don't know how to teach it to you except for I hope suffering happens to you. And I was fortunate that I grew up with my parents providing a condition for us to be successful on the one hand, but there were plenty of opportunities for setbacks and suffering. And to this day, I use the phrase pain and suffering inside our company with great glee. And the reason, and I mean that, boy, this is going to cause a lot of pain and suffering. And I mean that in a happy way, because you want to refine the character of your company. You want greatness out of them. And greatness is not intelligence. Greatness comes from character. And character isn't formed out of smart people. It's formed out of people who suffered. And so that's it. And so if I could wish upon you, I don't know how to do it. For all of you Stanford students, I wish upon you ample doses of pain and suffering.
NVIDIA started as a small startup with big dreams. Under Jensen Huang's leadership, the company pioneered the graphics processing unit, GPU, revolutionizing the gaming and computer graphics industries. With a passion for pushing boundaries and a keen eye for innovation, Huang propelled NVIDIA to new heights, cementing its place as a tech powerhouse. Of course, no success story is without its challenges. Throughout his career, Huang faced numerous setbacks and obstacles, from fierce competition to economic downturns. But true to his resilient nature, he never allowed these hurdles to deter him. Instead, he used them as fuel to drive him forward and propel NVIDIA to even greater success. Today, NVIDIA stands as one of the most valuable tech companies in the world. with its GPUs powering everything from gaming consoles to self-driving cars. Under Huang's guidance, the company continues to push the boundaries of what's possible in the world of technology, pioneering advancements in artificial intelligence, deep learning, and more. Jensen Huang's journey is a testament to the power of vision, resilience, and relentless innovation. His story shows us that with the right mindset, we can overcome any obstacle and achieve extraordinary success.
I was always rambunctious. I was always setting stuff on fire and gluing stuff together and blowing things up and, digging holes in this and building that and whatnot. So I was a rambunctious kid, but I always cared deeply about grades, and I always knew that I wanted to do something in mathematics. And for somebody who has an analytical mind, who likes to build things, who likes to make things the world's never seen, being an engineer is the perfect career. What engineering really is understanding problems, having tools that helps you analyze problems and break the problems down into smaller pieces so that you can find sound, mathematically sound or scientifically sound solutions for those problems. Most of life is really about smart problem solving, and I found that my engineering skills in problem solving and my education in first principle knowledge has really helped in almost everything that I do, including being the CEO.
So what's it like to be an engineer at NVIDIA? What projects do you work on? What do you do every day?
One of the things that's really cool about our company is that you're surrounded with people who are genuinely passionate about doing the same thing that you're trying to do in the same field. Let's do something that matters, something that we're good at, and something that brings joy. Okay, and so what I've just described is really the first principles of strategic thinking, and it's how we decide what to work on. And of course, if it followed and satisfied the rules that I just provided, it must be pretty cool. And smart thinking about a problem is really at the beginning of engineering. It's asking the question, what is this problem really about? Now, there are some problems that if you try to solve it in the most literal sense, it would take a long time to solve. It might take a lot of money to solve. It might take an enormous amount of cost, in time or resource or whatever it is, or materials. But if you change the problem and you truly understand what is the person really trying to ask? What is at the core of that problem? Maybe you can express that problem in a slightly different way, and as a result it becomes solvable and a solution can be found. Maybe you can break the problem down into 10 pieces and that you would solve it over time. That it almost doesn't matter what the end profession is. I think the most important thing about engineering is that you're learning life skills about asking the right questions and breaking down problems and finding solutions to it that are elegant and optimal, and have the life skills to continuously improve. And all of those skills are really all that engineering teaches us, along with, of course, a lot of first principle knowledge that is when applied helps us find more elegant solutions. And so that's really all engineering is about. And so problem solving is life. Problem solving is life, and what could be better preparation for life than to have the world's best skills for problem solving?
Work is the rest of your life. Ouch. Exactly. So my first wish is for you to find joy in work. Find work that gives you great joy, or just fall in love with whatever work you do. That's the only way you're going to do your best work. That's the only way you're going to do exquisite work. Instead of working for a living, think of it as your life's work. I wish for you to love your work as much as I've loved my work. Lori, my kids, my family, the nearly 6,000 employees at NVIDIA, And everybody I've ever worked with in the computer industry knows I love my work. NVIDIA is my life's work, one that I'm passionate about and one that I'm giving my very best to make as great as possible. So my first wish to you is the same, that I wish you find joy in your work. My second wish for you is to learn to embrace failure. I've just said two contrarian words, work and failure. We've been taught all of our lives to not be a failure. So why am I standing here wishing you embrace failing? Avoiding failure is not the same as achieving success. In fact, finding failure is a discovery of sorts. It's a discovery of yet another way how not to do something. Failure is often on the path to success. It was for NVIDIA. NVIDIA failed from the very beginning. We found fame early on as a failed startup that was surely to go out of business. You know, every high-tech startup has a fundamental technology that they thought they discovered. And the fundamental technology we founded the company on was a rendering technology called forward texture mapping. It doesn't matter what it stands for, it doesn't matter what it means. There were tens of 3D graphics companies, huge established ones like Silicon Graphics, to well-funded startups like 3DFX. And we were the only company to use this approach. We did it for logical reasons. We believed in what we believed. Well, our approach was flawed. Inverse, which is the exact opposite, rather than forward, was the better solution. We were just wrong. After 2 years and millions of dollars later, we had to change our course. We failed. Now, how could anything good come from being completely wrong, from being a complete failure? Well, it turns out, because we were so different and didn't work with standards, we had to evangelize our unique architecture directly to software developers and game developers. And in working with the game creators, we adopted their sensibility. That technology matters, but it's really about fun and beautiful imageries. We learned that we were not just a chip or a technology company. NVIDIA was really a company at the intersection of technology and art. So even after we changed course and became the world's last among many 3D companies, all using inverse texture mapping, we retained that sensibility that games is an art form, and that we need to create technologies that allow the game developers to artistically express their imagination. And that purpose wasn't just to build a chip, but to create an experience that was magical and delightful. This perspective led to fundamental differences in how we approached our work and led to many inventions that changed the computer industry altogether. Today, NVIDIA is the largest and the only dedicated visual computing company in the world, the most successful computer graphics company in history, and that sensibility permeates our company to this day. It all started because we chose the wrong technology, because we failed. So my second wish to you is embrace failure. My last wish to you is to see the world like a child. You know, certainly after all this education, we've been told to grow up, I'm giving you yet another contrarian advice, another wish to see the world like a child, to see the world without preconceived notions and prejudice. The world is complex. You're going to go into a complicated world, sometimes rather cynical. We are surrounded by conventional wisdom, dictating that what works and what doesn't. It is true, most ideas simply won't work. We created one that didn't.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more inspiring stories. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay